Before we start, allow me to apologize in advance. You're about to witness some seriously cringy stuff, so if that bothers you, I'm sorry. Recently, I discovered David Rives Ministries on Facebook. He's made hundreds of videos, very few of which have more than about 1,000 views or so. However, his video titled The Evolution Song has gained more than 250,000. In the song, he makes countless inaccurate claims, and by the end, seems pretty confident that even without a degree in science, he's out-scienced the core principle to the field of biology. So I thought we could give it a look together and see if his songwriting powers are great enough to debunk a theory so widely accepted that doing so would certainly win him a Nobel Prize.
One of the most popular theories taught to children far and near is just as ridiculous as what you're about to hear.
Oh, we both definitely think what you're about to hear is ridiculous, just not in the same way.
Protozoa is my name, I'm just a single cell. I'm sorry that I have no proof, perhaps it's just as well.
Oh, so you're starting this off strong by claiming there's no evidence for protozoa. That's just... Oh man. You make me laugh already, David. Also, do you think protozoa are proposed to be the absolute oldest common ancestor to life as we know it? Because that's what it sounds like, and I've got to tell you, that's a little bit off. Bacteria have been evidenced to have appeared way before protists did, and although protists were a significant step toward multicellular life, they weren't the first life on Earth by any means.
Of my beginning, back in time, when from a glob of goo, supposedly I started things, the end of which is you.
That's a nice little caricature you're painting for the audience there. I'm not sure, but are you implying that glob of goo intended to start things with an end goal of humanity in mind? Okay, I'll not get ahead of myself and I'll just give you the benefit of the doubt and say that your anthropomorphic goo is just a creative liberty. It's not a reflection on how you really interpret things, right?
For untold centuries, I thought that all was going well. Then I became dissatisfied as just a single cell. My fortitude, my guts and grit would stand me in good stead. I made this as my final goal, to be a quadruped.
Jesus Christ.
I had to take it step by step and over centuries. But that was nothing, for I knew I'd turn out as I pleased. Ambition surged within my cell, down in my gloppy bog. By protozoa and effort, I became a pollywog.
To the audience, please tell me you're not just cringing at the song itself, but also at the glaring scientific illiteracy. Alright, here we go. Point 1. The theory of evolution never insinuates nor requires that any organism upon which it operates has any intention of evolving. That means no final goals ever exist in the process. Single-celled organisms never had the goal of coming together to make multicellular ones. The ones that did just come together happened to have a survival advantage in certain situations, so they reproduced more and died less. You misunderstand and are misrepresenting the thing you're arguing against, and then tearing that misrepresentation apart. That's called a straw man fallacy. Point 2. You use the visual of ascending steps to represent the transition from protozoan to polywog. That's not representative of the process of evolution at all. Anytime an organism has a beneficial mutation that is naturally selected for by their environment, they haven't become more evolved. They've just become better suited for their specific environment. They're not a higher being, they're just really a different being. There are no steps to becoming objectively superior or more evolved in all cases. Between tube worms and human beings, which is better suited for life on grasslands of northeastern Africa? Humans. But which is better for life near hydrothermal vents deep in the ocean? Tube worms. So which has taken more steps to becoming more evolved? Neither. We just suit our own individual environments. Your imaginary strong-willed protozoan didn't take steps to becoming more highly evolved as a polywog. It incidentally changed over generations to suit its environment, becoming whatever that took the form of. Eventually, among many other things, a polywog. Point 3. Really, man? Centuries? You know this kind of change was proposed to take eons, but maybe you only said that for the sake of the rhyme, so might I suggest rhyming the word eons with the word Klingons? After all, they're just as fictional as the picture you're painting here anyway.
Evolution, the science of confusion. Because of all the missing links, they don't know what to do. Evolution, incredible us that we started out as just a glob of goo.
Let me address the missing link statement first. You've insinuated that scientists have some kind of difficulty with supposed missing links in presumably the fossil record. And I have to ask, have you actually heard any evolutionary biologists speak about that concern? From what I've read, it seems that only creationists even use the term missing link. It's like the entire issue is fabricated by the opposition, who resides entirely outside of the field. The supposed issue of missing links doesn't trouble evolutionary scientists because there already exists enough evidence elsewhere in the fossil record, as well as in DNA analysis, to conclude that all living things share a common ancestor. But that's just a broad way to address your claim as stated. If we were to actually discuss this, I'd be interested to ask you exactly what links are missing, because to truly alleviate the misplaced concern about all missing links in the fossil record, we'd have to uncover and analyze fossils from about every generation of whatever organism we're dealing with. That's why scientists ensure that multiple methods of analyzing the data available are in concordance before concluding anything about the evolutionary history of a species. Imagine your DNA was analyzed. The analysis showed that you were of German ancestry, but you objected. The scientist at work here asks you, do you realize that certain genetic markers exist in those of German descent and that you have them? Of course, you answer, but we've never seen any of my family come from Germany, so I can't really believe you because of all the missing links. I assure you, this is directly analogous to your actual objection. Now to address your statement about evolution being a delusion. First, let's quickly acknowledge the definition of delusional, characterized by holding idiosyncratic beliefs or impressions that are contradicted by reality or rational argument. Look, I could say that those who accept evolution do so on an evidential basis, and that if presented with any evidence to the contrary, would change their minds. But you probably wouldn't accept that, so let's take a different approach. Let me ask you, do you have faith in anything?
So if portions of the Bible are being consistently verified as real history, then why couldn't the history found in Genesis 1 be just as accurate? I have faith that it is.
So you admit to having faith in holding a belief that is without sufficient evidence for its confirmation. You know, it's pretty irrational to believe something even though you acknowledge it hasn't been evidenced to be true. That's holding a belief regardless of whether or not it's based in reality. Given that I was so easily able to find a clip of you contradicting logic, evidential truths, and yourself, are you sure you want to throw around the word delusion like that? Lucky for you guys, he doesn't make many specific claims until a bit later, so we'll fast forward a bit.
Millions of long years went past, and then a million more. And suddenly I noticed that my tail was feeling sore. Well, it dropped off and my hair fell out. Old Darwin strikes again. I was a jolly ape, but now I turned into a man.
Apes don't have tails. Monkeys have tails. But that's just nitpicky, right? Details aren't important in science. Regardless, I genuinely hope that this is just hyperbole for the sake of the song, but based on your apparent understanding of evolutionary theory so far, I'm not so sure that's it. To be clear, no scientist asserts that any ancient primate's ancestors' hair and tail fell off at any point. It simply reduced in size and function over several millennia as it became less necessary to survival. Also, regardless of what you might think, you actually do have a bit of a tail. It's called your coccyx, and it's a vestigial structure which evidences a time when your ancestors did have full external tails.
Would you believe I started out as just a glob of goo, and changed from fish to bird to ape and ended up as you?
Whoa, no one is claiming that any organism's ancestral lineage went from fish to bird to mammal. And you know, I'm becoming less convinced that you're intentionally setting up straw men, and more convinced that you just have no idea what you're arguing against. Your understanding of evolutionary theory as evidence so far is less than that which is required learning in public high school. But you probably got a real education from a religious private school that wasn't controlled by evil secularists, didn't you?
That theory is, as theories go, rather odd and weird. The truth, however, is a lot less complex than you feared.
Are we fearing complexity now? Are simpler explanations somehow truer because they're less frightening and easier to digest? If that's the case, I'll go ahead and just let go of my notion of object permanence and think that whenever I'm not watching your video, it doesn't actually exist. Oh my god, that sounds amazing. I understand the appeal now.
If you, my friends, will listen on, you'll find the whole true story, in which there's somewhat less of goo and rather more of glory.
And now we get to the real issue behind all of this. Why does it matter whether or not there's glory in the event of your origin? That doesn't affect the plausibility or evidential basis of the processes proposed on either side. Your feelings, your desire to feel significant or divine, can't serve as evidence for your position. But they can cloud your reasoning and compel you to conclude that whatever makes you feel good is true. And I have to say, when you state your feelings so obviously in this song, that's exactly what it appears is happening. Do you just not want to accept the theory of evolution?
Evolution, the science of confusion.
Just kidding, I'm not going to make you listen to that again. That's the end of the song, so I'll just skip right to the closing statement.
If you enjoyed this little song and want to be a part of my Facebook family, just click the link above that says David Rives Ministries and like our page. We'll be bringing you more fun and inspirational posts and videos. Oh, and why don't you hit that share button and let someone know today that they aren't an animal, not goo, that they actually have a purpose, and that purpose is found through Jesus Christ.
And there we go, suspicions affirmed. You've revealed that your motivation here has not been to counter bad ideas for the sake of discerning truth. It's been to make you and your listeners feel good about themselves. I'm sorry, but again, your feelings really have no bearing on the truth of your claims or the claims you're arguing against. If you prioritize your feelings over truth, that's one thing, but don't act like that's not what you're doing. Especially, don't promote pseudoscience as a valid alternative view to that of reality when you admit that you're just trying to believe whatever makes you feel better. Those of us who have realized one can find sufficient beauty and purpose in reality would appreciate if you didn't present your ideas as evidence-based, thus misleading those who are impressionable but who do actually value reality. Present them honestly, as based on faith alone, and you will at the very least preserve a shred of your integrity. It doesn't take much to debunk the claims made here. Like David, I don't have a degree in biology, but unlike him, I've taken the time to study and understand the basics of evolution. It's not really that hard. Everything a layman needs to know can be found from credible sources online. So I've left some decidedly accessible resources in the description. And on that note, I thought I'd provide my final thoughts in song form, set to the tune of the chorus of your own masterpiece.
Your song about creation's theological masturbation. You first believe your holy book, then claim science says it's true. Your archaic theology is debunked by the biology that you should have learned in freshman year, so please go back to school.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'd like to announce a few new ways to support my channel. I'm now on Patreon, so if you'd like to help me make new and improved content, you can go over there to pledge your regular support. Or you can now make a one-time donation via PayPal. You can also check out my Amazon wishlist, which contains some items that, if bought, would seriously help me improve the production quality of my channel. All those links are in the description. As always, I've been Drew from Genetically Modified Skeptic. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel, and I will greatly appreciate that. You can also follow me on Twitter at GMSkeptic. Until next time, everyone, stay skeptical.